Once upon a time, in a charming village called Uro, lived a lady named Sarah. Sarah was quite unique. She crafted the most stunning outfits in the entire area. Everyone admired Sarah's designs. They were bright like rainbows after rainfall. Sarah was gentle too. She always wore a warm smile for all, like sunshine lighting up the sky. Sarah had 3 girls, each as lovely as the dresses she created. She loved them more than anything else. She made sure they wore the most elegant outfits. People around Uro believed she had a golden soul. She offered her smile and kind speech as if sharing riches. At times, Sarah gave some of her pretty outfits to those without fine clothing. "She is the soul of Uro," people would say, watching. The joy she brought. Sarah's home echoed with giggles and the rhythm of her loom, a large device for making cloth. It sounded click-clack, click-clack. As Sarah worked, her daughters would play nearby, sometimes helping, filling the house with more delight. Everyone in town loved dropping by Sarah's home, often bringing fruit or flowers as tokens of thanks. Her generosity brought cheer to all. Even the birds and leaves swayed when she passed by. The village felt like one big household, with Sarah's giant, kind soul ensuring everyone smiled in gorgeous attire. So Sarah spent her days weaving, caring, and spreading warmth in Uro, the Sai, town that cherished her in return. It was a place where kindness sparkled brightly thanks to Sarah, the beloved weaver with a heart of pure gold. Then something surprising began in Sarah's life. One afternoon, while working, she suddenly winced. "Oh," she gasped, a little frightened. Neighbors came to aid and quickly brought her to the village's wise healer. With soft touch and calm tone, the healer said, "You're expecting another child." Sarah's heart swelled with happiness. She was eager to share the news with her husband, Cade, and her 3 precious daughters. Weeks passed, and her belly grew steadily. It wasn't easy managing the pregnancy, but the villagers had always supported her. Then arrived the moment she was close to delivery. Sarah endured pain for 3 long days. But finally, there she was, a tiny newborn. This child was unlike any other. Her skin glowed pale like the moon, and her hair gleamed like golden thread. Sarah's heart felt both stormy and sunny. She had a gorgeous baby girl, but she was albino. In that village, people thought albinos were unlucky, like clouds hiding the sun. With tears mixed with faith, Sarah called her baby Tina, my divine blessing. Yet, not everyone saw Tina that way. When Ade, Sarah's husband, looked upon his new daughter, he trembled with dread. "This brings misfortune," he muttered, worried. "She cannot remain with us." Sarah's heart shattered into countless shards. How could sweet little Tina bring such gloom? Despite Ade's harsh words, Sarah refused to abandon her. "She is ours, our blessing," Sarah begged. Ade at last accepted, but warned, "I never want her in sight." This crushed Sarah, but she clung to Tina tighter, vowing to shield her forever. Sarah's daughters were unsure about their sibling. They overheard whispers and saw their father's coldness. They kept away, and Tina felt left out and sad. Still, Sarah tried to hold her family together. She toiled day and night, weaving radiant clothes, spreading love and grace, despite her aching soul. Meanwhile, Ade became colder, blaming every trouble on little Tina, calling her the cause of all misfortunes. The once joyful home turned gloomy. Sarah began to lose friends and customers too. Villagers avoided her, spooked by rumors about Tina's pale looks. But Sarah's love never wavered. She knew her daughter was a miracle, not a curse. "They'll understand, my moonbeam," Sarah whispered. "They'll see how bright you shine." And even among shadows and isolation, Sarah's love for Tina glowed like the moon. She dreamed that someday the village would see Tina through. Her eyes, not as bad luck, but as a jewel to treasure in Uro, the village that once brimmed with waving hands and warm smiles. Things were shifting for Sarah's family. Even with sunshine in the sky and birds singing, a dark feeling lingered inside their home. It was because of tiny Tina's presence. Sarah, with a heart full of love, tried her hardest to keep peace alive. She crafted her clothes even faster, hoping the vivid patterns and gentle touch would help remind everyone of the happiness once felt. But it wasn't easy, not at all. Aid, Sarah's husband, grew cold. Each time his eyes landed on Tina, he saw only misfortune and despair. If his harvest failed or the rain was scarce, he'd say, "It's her fault," pointing at little Tina, making Sarah ache. Now grown, Sarah's daughters felt torn. They loved their mother deeply, but also heard what people whispered. "Tina's not like us," villagers murmured with nervous glances and hushed tones. So the girls stayed distant from Tina, leaving her to wander and play alone. It wasn't only at home where it hurt. When Sarah went to sell clothes at the market, the same clothes everyone once admired, people turned away and said, "Bad." Luck follows her, fearing her pale child. Sarah's spirit felt weighed down. She was once Uro's heart, greeted everywhere. But now, due to fear and gossip, she felt isolated and forgotten. Still, she didn't stop caring. She kept weaving, kept giving, and loved Tina even more fiercely. To keep food on the table, Sarah began doing extra chores. She scrubbed floors, fetched water, anything to feed her children. These jobs were exhausting and poorly paid, not like the old days when her vibrant clothes brought in enough. Despite everything, her love for Tina stayed strong. "My moonbeam," she called her, cuddling close. "You are just right the way you are." She hoped that someday the villagers would witness Tina's inner glow too, but the darkness seemed to stretch longer. Aid's quiet turned to resentment, and he drifted further from Sarah. The home, once alive with laughter, now echoed only with silence, except for the loom's steady beat and Tina's soft, playful chuckles. Inside Sarah's chest, a small flame still burned. She held on to hope for brighter times. "We'll make it through this gloom," she whispered under the stars, her eyes wet, yet her will unbroken. Even as the sun rose and set over Uro, things were changing for Tina, the little girl with skin as pale as moonlight. She was no longer the small baby who had caused such a stir. Now, Tina was a stunning girl, with eyes that sparkled like stars, and a smile that could light up the darkest places. But even as she grew, the whispers still followed her. "There she goes," people would say, pointing without bothering to whisper anymore. Tina heard them, but kept her smile, just like her mother Sarah had taught her. Sarah watched her daughter grow with mixed emotions. Proud, because Tina was bright and kind, and sad, because she knew how lonely Tina felt. Tina's sisters, now older, kept their distance, hearing more of the village's fears than their mother's words of love and acceptance. Adi, Tina's father, spoke less and less. He worked his farm from dawn to dusk, trying to avoid the house that reminded him of what he believed was his misfortune. At night, he'd look at Tina and quickly turn away, as if afraid of what he might feel. Tina tried to make friends, but it was tough. When she went to fetch water, the other children would scatter, their mothers calling them away. "Don't go near her," they would say, their voices filled with unwarranted fear, whispering and pointing fingers, calling her bad luck. Tina's heart would ache, but she'd pick up her water and head home, tears rolling down her face. Even at home, things weren't easy. Her siblings, who should have been her friends, kept their distance, fearing being called unlucky themselves. They wouldn't share games or secrets with Tina. She often felt isolated, like a moon shining alone in a dark sky. At home, Tina learned to weave from Sarah. Her hands were quick and steady, and soon she was creating cloth just as beautiful as her mother's. "You have a gift, Tina," Sarah would say, her voice full of pride. You have magic in your hands." But outside their home, no one noticed the beauty Tina made. They only saw her pale skin. Tina would often sit by the window, watching life pass by, wondering why she was so different. Why did Tina's presence spark whispers and stares? She had so much love to give, so many smiles that went unreturned. Her heart was enormous, but heavy with unspoken affection. One day, as Tina sat weaving alongside her mother, she asked, "Mama, why don't they like me?" Sarah looked at her daughter, her own heart breaking. "My child," she said softly, "sometimes people are afraid of what they don't understand. But remember this, you are deeply loved by those who truly matter." As Tina blossomed, both in spirit and appearance, she also grew accustomed to her solitude. The village's rejection became a constant ache, one she learned to endure but could never fully comprehend. Her world was small, limited to her home, her family, and her weaving. The vibrant village of Uro seemed like a distant dream, a place Tina longed to belong to, but knew she never would. Despite everything, Tina's spirit stayed unbroken. She remained kind even to those who weren't kind to her, offering smiles, even when no one smiled back, loving even when her love wasn't returned. In a world that didn't understand her, Tina remained a light, dimmed by the shadows, but never extinguished. Then one day, after many years of this, Tina made a decision. She realized she could no longer stay in a place that only saw her as different, a place where being herself felt wrong. "Mama," she said one evening, her voice steady but her eyes filled with sadness, "I need to find a place where I belong." Sarah felt a storm of emotions. She knew the sting of her daughter's rejection as if it were her own. Yet the thought of Tina leaving, stepping into a vast and uncertain world, filled her with fear. "My moonbeam," Sarah whispered, her eyes brimming with tears, "are you sure?" Tina nodded, her decision firm. "I need to find a place where my light can shine, Mama, where people see me for who I am, not just my skin." Sarah saw the determination in Tina's eyes, the same determination that had carried her through each day in a village that turned its back on her. The night before Tina left was long. Sarah held her close, telling stories of bravery and love. "Wherever you go," Sarah said, "carry our love with you. It will be your shield and your strength." As dawn broke, casting a gentle light over Uro, Tina packed a small bag. Tina had a few clothes, some food, and her weaving tools. With these hands, she thought to herself, "I'll weave a new life." Aid, who had been silent for so many years, found no words now. His heart felt heavy with regret and fatherly concern. Tina's sisters watched from a distance, their emotions tangled in confusion they could not yet comprehend. Sarah walked Tina to the village's edge, the quiet morning around them. There, Sarah gave Tina her blessing, a mother's love sending her child into the world. "Go with the strength of our ancestors," Sarah said, her voice strong despite the tears. "Find your place, my child, and know that you will always have a home here." Tina turned to leave, her steps determined. She looked back once, imprinting the sight of her mother, the woman who had taught her love and resilience, into her memory. Then she continued onward, walking into an uncertain future. Behind her, Sarah stood, proud but heartbroken. She whispered, a prayer to the winds, asking them to carry her love and protect Tina on her journey. Tina walked for days, her heart heavy but her spirit unbroken. She crossed rivers and hills, each step taking her further from Uro, away from the pain. Then, one sunny morning, she saw a new village nestled between green hills and sparkling streams. It was different, peaceful and welcoming. With hesitant steps, Tina entered the village, expecting the familiar whispers and stares. Instead, she was met with warm, genuine smiles from strangers who didn't know her story but were willing to accept her. In this new village, no one whispered about her, pale skin, or looked at her with fear. Instead, they saw her for who she truly was, a young woman with a gift for weaving and a heart full of kindness. Tina, carrying the weaving skills her mother Sarah had passed down, began to weave. Her fingers danced as if they were one with the loom, creating fabrics that told stories, fabrics that shimmered with the colors of the sunrise and the peace of the sunset. The villagers saw her work and were amazed. "Look at this beauty," they would say, touching the soft fabrics Tina created. And just like that, Tina found her place among them. She was no longer the girl whispered about, but the weaver whose hands spun magic. Weaving spread quickly. People came from all around, not just to buy her cloth, but to meet the remarkable young woman who made it. "Her hand is magic," they said. Tina, who had once been shunned for being different, found herself embraced by her new community. For the first time in her life, Tina felt a sense of belonging. She was invited to dinners, to celebrations, and with each passing day, her circle of friends grew. They didn't see Tina the albino. They saw Tina the weaver, the friend, the cherished member of their village. With her success came happiness, a deep, fulfilling joy that Tina had never known. She woke up each day to a life she had dreamed of but never dared to hope for. Her past, filled with rejection and loneliness, seemed like a distant memory. Here, in this new village, Tina was loved for exactly who she was. As her reputation grew, so did her business. Tina's cloths were sought after far and wide, and her little home became a place of laughter and light. She used her success to help others, remembering her mother's lessons of kindness and generosity. Tina became known not just for her weaving, but for her big heart. One day, as Tina sat weaving under the shade of a large tree, she realized something important. She had found her place in the world, not by changing who she was, but by living her truth. In this village, among these people, Tina wasn't just accepted, she was celebrated. And so, Tina's new beginning was marked not by the end of her journey, but by the start of a new chapter, a chapter filled with success, yes, but more importantly with happiness. In this village, Tina discovered that the greatest success of all was finding a place where she could be herself, unapologetically and freely. As the seasons changed and Tina's life blossomed in her new village, something magical happened. Among the many who admired her work and spirit was Prince Kari, the son of the village chief. Prince Kari was kind and wise, beloved by all. He had heard tales of Tina's beautiful weavings and her even more beautiful heart. Curious, he visited her stall under the guise of buying cloth, but as soon as he saw her, he knew there was something special about Tina. They talked first about weavings, then about life, dreams, and hopes. Tina found in Prince Kari a kindred spirit, someone who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. And Prince Kari saw in Tina a strength and grace he had never encountered before. The friendship blossomed into love, a love that was deep and true, built on respect and shared dreams. One day, under the shade of the same tree where Tina realized she had found her place, Prince Kari asked her to be his wife. He didn't see a weaver, nor did he see an albino. He saw Tina, the woman who had captured his heart. "With you, I see a future bright and beautiful," he said. Tina, with tears of joy in her eyes, accepted. Her heart, once heavy with sorrow, now soared with love. Before they married, Prince Kari asked Tina if there was anything she wished to do. Tina knew the time had come to face her past. She needed to return to Uro, not for validation, but to close the chapter that had once defined her. "Before our wedding ceremony, my lovely mother must be aware. She must validate and bless our marriage," Tina said. Prince Kari, understanding her need, stood by her decision with unwavering support. Then, one bright morning, Tina, now with Prince Carey by her side, decided it was time to visit Uro. As they arrived in Uro, the village looked the same, but Tina felt so different. She held Prince Carey's hand tightly as they walked through the village. People stopped and stared, their mouths open wide. "Is that Tina?" they whispered, amazed, at how she shone like a star that had found its place in the sky. Then came the moment Tina had dreamed of, but also feared a little. She saw her mother, Sarah. Tears filled their eyes as they hugged. It was a hug that said everything. "I missed you. I'm proud of you. I love you." Sarah looked at her daughter, not believing how the once rejected girl was now a princess. Loved and happy. But happiness was not the only story in Uro. Tina's siblings, who had turned their backs on her, faced tough times. They had not found happiness or success. Seeing Tina, they felt a mix of shame and surprise. They couldn't face the village or Tina, knowing how wrong they had been. So, they decided to leave Uro, to find a new beginning, just like Tina once did. With her siblings gone, Tina felt sad, but Tina knew some stories had to find their own paths. She turned her heart to those who loved her. Tina asked her mother to come and live with her in the new village, a place where love and kindness ruled. Sarah, with tears of joy, said yes. She was ready to start a new chapter in a place where her daughter had found her fairy tale. Tina's return changed many things in Uro. The villagers saw her not just as the girl they once whispered about, but as a princess, strong and kind. They remembered how they had treated her and felt a deep wish to be better, to be kind like Tina. Before leaving Uro, Tina addressed her family and the villagers. She spoke of love, acceptance, and the beauty of diversity. "Never look down on anyone because of how they look," she said. "Everyone is special, no matter their color." Her words left a deep impact, sowing the seeds of change in the hearts of those who heard her. And so, Tina left Uro again, but this time with her mother and her head held high. She had come back as a princess, but more importantly, she had shown everyone that kindness wins, that love heals, and that everyone deserves a chance to shine, no matter where they come from or what they look like. Tina's story was not just a fairy tale. It was a lesson in love, acceptance, and the magic of second chances. As Tina and Sarah traveled back to their new home, they looked forward to the future. Tina, now a princess, continued to weave, not just cloth, but a life filled with love, acceptance, and the joy of being truly seen. Her story, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the beauty of diversity, remained a guiding light for both her old village and her new one. The moral of Tina's tale resonated far and wide. Never look down on anyone because of how they look. Everyone is special, no matter their color. It was a lesson that transformed not just a family or a village, but all who heard her story, reminding everyone of the value of acceptance, love, and the strength to forgive. I hope you found the story enjoyable. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts on the lesson from this tale, and remember to subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories like this. Thank you.